Okay, so welcome to this review and preview video of the English Premier League, which I'm going to do in English language, and I'm going to do it with this Betmaster tool that you can get access to as well if you wish to. You would get kind of this screen in the first place. You could get my evaluations of the leagues that you are purchasing or that you would like to compile prices for and start to attack the betting market. Attack means you try to be better and squeeze out a little edge and possibly generate some winnings, which I cannot promise because it depends on your assessment of football, of the leagues you are dealing with, and your knowledge and understanding of football as well. Even if you start to with my settings, or you start to understand how and where to adjust, you would only possibly find very small edges which still have to turn into real money. And should you start winning, it is even still the question would be if you could generate enough money to make a living of it, because you will face or encounter plenty of problems because you want to make a living of other people's money and they will try to stop you from doing this. So it still is a shark's cage. I don't know what that's called in English. And I mean, they all try to make some money, and this is an odds compilation tool. More, if you are able to compile the probabilities, then you are also able to compile proper prices. You will find the good bets. You also need a lot of patience, which is also for poker or something like that. Any gambler, he knows that you can't just start today and say, okay, now I'm gonna bet here, this, and I'm gonna win the bets and I'm gonna make some money. It's a marathon much more than a sprint, but it's a very common picture, what's it called, comparison. Anyway, I'm saying that because I don't want to give you any ever false promises. I'm not making that, and because I think there are enough people around that are doing those promises. I don't want to address anyone personally, but as soon as you find betting tips, something like that, and you gotta bet this, you have to bet this, and so on. This is usually it is not really serious to you want to sell those bets. Why would you do that? Because then you would bet it yourself and not kill the market price. Because if you really are successful with these bets, then people would buy this, okay, and then they would start betting, and the price would drop because a lot of money is coming in, and then the value would get lost. So why would you do that? And you would even still make false promises, because you can say, for 2.10 this is value, you can say that, but if the price drops, then you have to say, well, where would you stop to have this value? I mean, where should people stop? So you have to sell the true price, you have to sell the probabilities, more or less. Anyway, why am I saying all this? Because I don't want to be blamed for making false promises. I'm not doing this. This is giving you the perfect platform to start and compile your own prices and start from there, to maybe find these small edges and make sure you are not tempted to give up your regular job or something like that and make a living of it. If you have these small edges, maybe it's a lot better than it had been, because you may have started off losing money, and then maybe your approach to be even, and maybe even if you're even getting better, then you can start to make some winnings with it. all the settings you can get here, if we look at the Premier League, they are pretty sensible and not so bad. But I wouldn't say they are good enough to generate the winnings. So I'm not making these promises. You have to make sure you understand, or I try to make you understand that it's that you are far miles better off starting this tool when you still intend to make bets, to do the sports betting. I'm ready to introduce some more sports. I'm into basketball right now, NBA. I've done already, and I can show you this. Or I think in next days we will have already a beta version kind of for this NBA. And okay, I do not find any bets here, which is a bit funny. What am I doing? Premier League, okay, very good. And we do have these prices. Why the Liverpool Brighton is compiled already, I do not know, but I don't mind. I'm still waiting for the feature to remove all the prices. Why would I do that? Because I want to compile them in my head, or just gut feeling if you want so, but this is just a compilation of a price. It's gut feeling is not, I'm gonna bet this because my gut feeling tells me this is a good bet. I'm doing this. It's always the same circle that I'm doing. I'm trying to make my own prices in my head, more or less. And then I look at my tool, I look at the market. So it's three things I have to compare. And sometimes market can tell me better, or I prefer market's price. I know sometimes there are team news behind that. We had this Borussia Dortmund, Haaland missing, instantly the price went up. They still won in Bielefeld also. But this is based on team news, and sometimes this happens towards the kickoff. That you get some team news and then prices are moving up and down and so on. But anyway, I try to have these three anchors or something, this basis to start from. What you have to understand, or what I'm trying to convince you of, is this tool is a lot better because it's compiling this one price for the game based on the settings of the teams. All the parameters need to be set, but as soon as you have the goal expectancies, then all the other prices that are compiled are based on this. So if you have an over-under bet, or both teams to score, or halftime, full-time, or correct score, or whichever market, first half, how many goals, and so on, over-under, and they are all based on the same thing. So you don't need to recompile anything. And I'm having here more or less all the markets, but we can easily add more because it's based on simulation. So I'm within this tool. It's within this video right now. I'm telling you more of the a bit more about this tool itself, which I should possibly do in a separate video. But now we have a look at the Leicester City against Arsenal, which is a very interesting game already, I have to say. I did not do the review now. I didn't even check what I've done, but I tried to compile the prices for the upcoming weekend, and I hope you understand that if there is an indication, it's based on my settings, and I say, okay, maybe I suggest this, why wouldn't we also, but this is just rough guesses. You should get your access here, learn. I can happily teach you in more videos, or also in personal coachings. So I can teach you how to use this tool, and then how to even adjust your settings somewhere when you think, well, this is wrong, or this should be otherwise. You have to get into this and start to learn. It's not in a one day. It's not the usage of the tool, but how to adjust and how to introduce your own opinions into this compilation. And so when you come closer to getting even, and then even possibly to beat the market and have a small edge. This is all I'm trying. And I think you have the best platform to start from here with this tool. Okay, anyway, is it an even game? Leicester favorites? I think even Leicester should be favorites. Arsenal are not doing so well, but I'm repeating that. I'm not following all the football so much because I've got this other business to build this tool and improve on it. Anyway, it should be slight favorites, Leicester, I guess, and I'm pretty sure market will confirm. I would prefer also not to have, oh, that's pretty low, that's very low price here. And so it means my settings are not so good, or what would we conclude? Or do we have a bet on Leicester? Possibly. I mean, Arsenal are struggling, and for a long time, ever since Arsene Wenger left, that's what they all say. Burnley, Brentford should be favorites. I don't know how to, well, it should be favorites. Brentford, I guess. It should be, yeah, small favorites. Very small favorites. Slight favorites. That's what the tool says. I also recompiled this game. I do not know when this has been in August. So anyway, it won't differ too much. I mean, I think 147. It should be maybe 147 sounds pretty okay to me. It's 145. This is more than market by the looks of it. But I mean, Brighton are simply, but Liverpool are so strong. I accept that. I saw them in Champions League, also in the league somewhere, incredibly good, and I like them, of course. Also Kloppo and so on. But 145 Brighton are pretty good. Anyway, we have to check that. Manchester City, Crystal Palace. That's ridiculous. I mean, to even talk about it, it's 115. I don't know. And we see the prices here already, but if you see that 118, I mean, if the tool usually always comes up with the market price, which it didn't in the Leicester Arsenal, but otherwise usually comes up more or less with the market price, and you can say, why do I need the tool? What do I need the tool for? Well, first of all, it's pretty helpful to have prices all over the place that are simply good, well compiled, and if you don't find bets, you can hardly blame the tool. I mean, it would mean if you do not find a bet, you're always even, which is of course not what you are trying to do, but you never bet, you're even, like plenty of other people that never bet. But still you can say, well, maybe I can squeeze out something. So maybe if there are in 9 out of 10 cases, the computer agrees with market, and in the one there is a difference, then why wouldn't you trust the tool then? Still, you can doubt your settings and still adjust it a bit to the market, or try to find out why market thinks so and why the tool thinks so, because the tool is doing a pretty good job. I mean, I can always show you, of course, we have, so you can always have the possibility to check out many more such things if you wish to know who is doing well or who's doing horribly and so on. You first of all, you see this as soon as whatever is green here is good, whatever is red is not so good, more or less. This is pretty helpful already. If it's red on the draws, it means, well, they are behind on the draws, which is not really bad in a certain sense. I mean, anyway, if you look at the points, for example, or the goals, then it's telling you a lot. Who's doing well? They scored more goals than expected, but that's only 6.73%, while they conceded a lot more than expected, which is a negative value. Anyway, this is one thing you can look at, and then we can show this, turn in on the stats here. When you see all the stats they produced and go and study it, how many passes have Liverpool played and Manchester City, they are obviously far above the others. If you look at Everton, they are playing not many passes. Does it mean they play long balls? I don't know, but it's not a maybe that means they are not so good. But you can check out many other values here. Shots on total shots. That's Liverpool #1, I guess, and Manchester City only in second place. Chelsea are not so good here. But I'm also building up on this, so it means later on you can compare this with expectancies as well, and you can also compare this to average. Then you can also get the defensive values. It means if Chelsea possibly are not so good in attack, maybe they are very good in defensive. So if you see dangerous attacks they had, not so many, but if the opponents had very few, then it means it's still good enough to win the games. They have 464 opposition, they keep them out, they have only 250 maybe. So they are way ahead, and maybe Liverpool concede more dangerous attacks. So we can build on this and we can improve. And this means also, I mean, if you get your access, you will get all the improvements. And this is something, of course, I'm looking forward to also for my own personal work, because I'm still working with this tool, but also, of course, for improvement. If you get, I mean, you can work with it, and this is what I'm looking forward to make you happy with this. And this is, I'm really serious about that. The users we are having already, which are not these few, anyway, they usually give a very good feedback. You can check this on my homepage. I think you get, you see this in the description. Anyway, here we are still trying, improving, and also get this statistically based model into this Betmaster here, because this would be a massive improvement. But still you have to, well, you can say still football is a game of result. Only result is all that matters. And which means I can build up this tool based on statistics and say, okay, they had these good stats, so computer says they are going to win with a higher likelihood, higher probability, and then they still lose their games. So it means something is wrong with them. But this is a very complex tool that I'm about to introduce here, and but this will rise the complexity, which I have to be careful about. But this is for the advanced users. I will start, push that and try to get that forward. And of course, anyone that is ready for this real professional approach. I mean, yeah, well, the promises. I still can't make. That's what people ask me. If I invest like €50 a month into these leagues and so on, am I going to win this money back? This anyway, I wouldn't be able to promise, and I could not even say this is the value you get, and you get 10 times this value. You're getting this back. You're getting this over time, maybe, but you have to compare this as well to the to the results you would have without the tool. This is the honest comparison. I'm gonna turn in the toggle the columns here, so you see this is the basis. All those parameters are being used, and you can say this is confusing. Still, you see those settings here that Manchester City top, Chelsea in second place, and even getting Liverpool behind them, which doesn't seem to be right to me. So I would say Liverpool are better than Chelsea, but this is also a matter of how many goals they score and concede, and sometimes scoring more goals is more helpful, and so it means still Liverpool have the better chances. It's just because defensive is then spoiling their quotient here. Anyway, they still have the better chances. So, but of course, all those things you can start to learn and understand, and already still get a very good idea of those decent bets. And that's what we are doing here, and maybe we will find one, and maybe we won't. But even if, it doesn't mean this is really some value in this. We will have a look. Anyway, Newcastle against Chelsea. So what I wanted to show is at least that those are the settings and the parameters that are being used, and here you can do your adjustments. Of course, you wouldn't dare in the first place. You wouldn't doubt so much that Norwich are in bottom. What you have to watch out for is, here's the sum of these two values, which is, this is the average of home and away, and this is the sum of these two values. So this is more or less 2.83 goals would occur or would be expected to occur if Watford were to play all the other 19 teams, once at home and once away from home, and then they would come up to this average, and home score, goals scored, goals conceded, and that's the total. They would be 2.83 goals scored, these many, conceded these many, and the quotient of these two is what drives their, more or less, their abilities, their power ranking. And of course Norwich are at bottom, Watford second bottom, Burnley, Newcastle, and so on. But this is not given here. It's my settings. You can say Aston Villa are better than Wolverhampton or so. I think that this is pretty okay, although Liverpool, Manchester United, well, could be a bit better even, but results are not perfect. Ronaldo, very good, but I mean, you can move them up the ranking manually, and not much harm done. And we can, as soon as we see the price for this game, we may be able to assess what market thinks about Manchester United. We're gonna compare this game. Of course, Chelsea are clear favorites. I'm trying not to look here. It should be 135, 130. I don't know, 130 something. I don't know. I'm not looking here. 156. Well, now I'm comparing here 135. I mean, computer is a bit high here, and but yeah, Newcastle are not so good. But at Chelsea, I'm not fully convinced, although they were higher in the ranking there, right? I mean, Watford, Southampton, would Southampton even be favorites? I don't know, it should be pretty even game. I'm trying not to look here. Southampton should be slight favorites maybe. Okay, they are, which is also in agreement with market, but market sees a bigger value. They always, I think they overrate Southampton a bit. I don't know, but we can check this, of course, in the table. If you compare this here, then you can very well check their stats. And I wanted to just that's 9 games, 115 shots, 32 on target is not a lot better than those teams around here, but you can say, well, it's more than Wolves on target. Burnley are even better. Let's check the corners, maybe something like that. Dangerous attacks. Let's check these. That's 415. That's also no better than the others around. Let's check the corners. That's in this column here. That's 50. That is a bit better. And let's maybe check the possession time. That's 431. Leeds are better. Crystal Palace are better. Aston Villa, Wolves. Yeah, but okay, not terrible. Anyway, it's not this much wrong with them. We could compare the others as well, which I'm not gonna do now. I'm quite happy with my price. I think it's nothing so much wrong. Tottenham, Man United is a difficult one. Of course, Man United are favorites, but what about Tottenham? I don't know where they. It should be a bit over 2.0, I fancy, I guess, but I can't say. I mean, it should be somewhere around 210 maybe. The computer may be a bit bigger. Okay, the computer is too big, but market still agrees. And here we see, but first of all, it's Tottenham, could be wrong, and second of all, it could be Manchester United, which I think as well. Here I'm doing an adjustment, and let's do it 176. I make them a bit better, and I'm gonna save this. And maybe also Tottenham not so good at the moment. Where are the standings? And where is my table? Where are my expectancies? Tottenham, well, 15 points is still better than expected because they have a good distribution of win-loss. The win-loss rate is good because no draws. But 9-13 goals, that looks awful because in both instances it's way behind, and also goal difference terrible. And Manchester United are also in green. 6-1 is good. 20 goals scored is almost exactly, and conceded 4, which justifies very well why I would adjust the settings. If we recompile now, we get a better price on Manchester United, maybe more in line with market, 249. This looks a lot better. And if we would still have a bet on Tottenham, I do not know. It doesn't look like. But I wouldn't, even then, I wouldn't wish to bet on them. Anyway, Norwich against Leeds. Should be Leeds still favorites because Norwich are awful. 0-7 in Chelsea, at Chelsea. They lost, yeah, but 2.0 maybe to 10, something like that on Leeds. Oh, I see market now, and it's 233, which is fine. We won't have a bet here, and that's fine. And Aston Villa against West Ham. Of course, West Ham should be favorites now. What they had been already at the time, not much of a difference. It was compiled on 26th of August for some reason, but oh, that's even that doesn't look quite right, because West Ham are maybe a bit underrated here. They are consistently playing well, but they are better than average. And I wouldn't, well, could you make them any better here? And they are playing Aston Villa. Well. West Ham are here, that's very good. And Aston Villa are not doing so well, 10 points. Well, it should be even, maybe. If you dislike this compilation, you can even click on the game itself. And then you would find here the settings, and all those parameters are being used, and you could adjust them here or there. I'm not quite happy with this dialog, although you got plenty of possibilities. But if you just say, well, Aston Villa very slightly out of shape maybe, while they are 4% better, and now you compile it again, I do not find the, because the screen is too small. And now it's even. You see that's what I was trying to do and show you. That's only very small edge to West Ham. It's 4% here, 4% there. And you see those small adjustments. They adjust the price here and there, and still it's not fully out of range or something like that, right? Now we can compare this with market, and we can check the Premier League, and we see Leicester are favorites. That's what the computer said as well. 250 is, of course, well, that's the one problematic game, I have to admit. I mean, Leicester are not doing so well, but they are not awful. They even beat Manchester. Who did they beat last week? Manchester United, 4-2. Anyway, 14 points is okay for them. It's like Arsenal. 14 points is close to what we had expected. 15 goals is no good, but it's also not terrible. And 10-13 goals is awful. It's improving a bit. They started off with 3 losses, I would say. Well, how and where would we need to adjust? We can have a look at the I mean, something is wrong. 2.09 is just too low here. And of course, the computer always has its reasons why it's doing so. Sometimes it also depends on the home and away, which seems to be a bit the case here on the home away. I mean, here we could still say very, very slightly out of shape. I mean, that's the easiest way to do your adjustments, because you say, well, I do not quite accept that, but I don't want to change my settings instantly, because in the other games, usually the compilation was pretty okay. Maybe home advantage here, it's a combination of those things. I'm gonna save it now. We will still have a bet on Leicester, and because it's only gonna be 225, something like that, 235, which looks very good to me. And now, I mean, if you wish to know whether or not you can trust this, you can also have a look at the home record, which looks okay to me in Leicester's case, 2-1-1. Also the 7-5 goals, that's green all over. That's their home record. And let's have a look at Arsenal's away record. That is all red here. and it means this is more or less some very fine tuning, fine settings, or the computer is sensible for that, more or less, right? Which humans wouldn't be. I mean, in this case, it's also a 211 home record, doesn't really read like a good record. Also 7.5 goals. If you compare it, it doesn't read like a good home record. If you compare it with what you expected, then it already almost turns into one, because you can say, well, I don't remember all the 4 opponents, but maybe they had been pretty good. That's why the figures are green here. And also the goals, and also in Arsenal's case, you wouldn't read this necessarily as a bad record or something like that. If you look at the goal difference, 1-7, that looks awful. So but this is a very small point in which the computer is starting to be more sensible, and but still it needs to be somehow approaching the truth a bit better, right? It is. I mean, why would you say, if the team are playing constantly worse on the road and better at home, why would you say it doesn't matter, next time they are going to improve? I don't know. Why would you say so? If you have any kind of indication, then it means if they get bad results and a bad record, then most likely it's because there is something behind that. Others do not have a look at this, but most likely because they would not really be able to, because they don't care. And usually the bookmakers or the betting companies also, they don't need to be that sensible for that, right? I mean, I'm arguing around this, and maybe I could just click it here, and then we see on Saturday, and then you say, okay, your rubbish tool, it's again making bad bets also, but maybe we get good news as well, but it wouldn't prove a lot. But no, then at least you see here how close it is and how many points you need to consider. And don't blame it on the tool, nor on me, nor on the mathematics or your bad luck or whatever. We have this indication, it may be justified, and we will have a result, and it doesn't mean a lot. Of course, every other lost game means maybe reconsider, or maybe something about market still. And if you win, you shouldn't, of course, instantly consider yourself a professional. Anyway, the Burnley-Brentford, we have 270 here, 270 there. No indication really. I'm gonna, should I speed up a bit, right? It's not building up my... Liverpool, of course, is okay. Is a lot lower. So maybe there is this small indication, Brighton not to lose the game. I mean, they put up some incredible resistance in all their games, and also results are very, very good. We can check that here. Brighton in 5th place, 15 points, 4-3-2, never even lost on the road, 2-0. I mean, it's all green. It's what is it called? England's all green. It's the green. I don't know. England's all lawn. The Wimbledon I'm talking about. So maybe you try this. In Manchester City, when we can't forget, Chelsea market computer was a bit higher on Chelsea. I would accept that. The shape is fine. Newcastle are not so good, and they are not getting the results, and so on. And they should be red, of course. While here it's red. It's very bad season so far. While Chelsea is all green once again. So why would we insist on betting against Chelsea? Even if the computer has this indication, we let it run. We say, okay, let's have a look. We're not going to bet. Still, we trust these figures more or less, but we don't need to invest some money on it. I think here we pretty much agree with market at 310. I don't want to, I mean, this is not a real margin we have. If you like this, then go ahead, try your luck with Watford. They are no good. Southampton also not so good, but 310, very small margin here. This looks fine to me. This looks very good to me because we had, well, this is a full agreement more or less on this game. So I'm happy with we did a small adjustment there with Manchester United, which looks justified to me. Tottenham are not so trustful for me, to me at the moment, so I wouldn't bet on them. Leeds, I was fully right with the 2.10. We wouldn't go with Norwich anyway at the moment. Aston Villa, we made this even, which looks very perfectly justified. Maybe the draw would even be indicated here. It sometimes happens now with that 340 or 350. What did we see here? So that would be a draw indication and not such a useless one. And maybe I did not compile yet the Wolverhampton. Because it's November then. Computer should make, still Everton favorites, but I'm not so happy with this. Because I saw the stats from Everton right now, right? You have to squeeze something out of every single detail there somewhere. And computer even says here small edge to Wolves, which looks okay to me. I mean, I wouldn't, okay. If we get an indication even on Everton, 340 is not a real indication. Maybe we could just almost, but as we saw right now, right, computer would say few goals. That's why it says just slightly justified the X2. If you want to see here the true price, you can either turn the calculate the opposing price to 281, or we also would have here the double chance can be compiled there. So if you do not trust your pocket calculator, I mean, it's something like 157 or something like that. True price on 155, sorry. 155 is the true price for the X2. So Everton not to lose is 155, and we get a 163. Although I just said I don't want to bet them, now I'm more or less forced to, because this is a bit exaggerated with the abilities of Wolverhampton, because they are maybe okay, but yeah, not outstanding, and nothing so wrong with Everton, right? Just one loss on the road so far, 1-1. So that would be more or less the indications, and hopefully some kind of introduction to the tool once more, that I mean, you have to put up also that I won't be able to do this forever, like everyone in the world. And if you start to write your own luck in this manner that I just explained to you, that you can adjust those settings in the team's settings and so on, and adjust the parameter here or there, or for a single game. Of course, you would feel a bit uncomfortable in the first place, but you will get used to it. And if you have any questions, ask them, and I'm gonna reply to them. And as soon as you would have this access, you would, I mean, all the other users we have had the same. You have to take this one step, and it may look like a big one, but after this, the other steps are much easier to make. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and leave your likes, share it, comment, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to the tool, and check out my Twitch streams. And if enough of you ask me to do it in English, I'm gonna do it in English, and then we could talk a lot more about this. Usually a daily stream at 3 p.m. or so. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.